to do this, nice base, we build base, we see the mode, how we can assess ourselves. Then we get into analyzing business models. Because I know this is something that's really going to reflect on us. Like we'll look back and say, I thank God for that session because it helped save me through the post-recession. I know we've had quite the conversations in the past weeks. We've talked into very topical issues and we've been able to build our businesses. And I feel this session is that time when you come and you do this M&E, you evaluate what's going on, what your business has been doing, whether it's working, and it will really help you be able to reposition. All of you joining, it's great to have you on board. Charity, Cheaper, Tisa, it's great to join. I'll be getting started now since it's 1942 and I was told I can get started by 1940. So I'll get started and then we can be able to follow through. So tonight, these are our aims. It's going to start with a dashing welcome. It's a special type of welcome. Then going to get into our objective for tonight. I love doing objectives, by the way. Then an introduction, to warm us up, get us heated up for what's coming. Then we're going to come to that decision-making process, that assessment time I've been talking about. Then just want us to look a bit at the impact of COVID-19, really understand the recession, the crisis we're going through, because then it helps us as entrepreneurs know, because if you've done on a level of management, you're going to hear maybe about environmental analysis, and being able to know your enemy is always the best way for you to position yourself and come out stronger. And just on the same thought, do you know countries are willing to invest millions and millions to billions of dollars on intelligence? The reason being is that the one who knows more about their enemy, quote unquote, is more likely to win the battle. It's been there all over the world, including back in Israel, where the Israelites had to send spies into the promised land. Like, intelligence is important. So when you take a look at the impact of COVID-19, kind of helps you understand which areas it's hammering and like, okay, you know what, this is how I'm going to approach this and come up with solutions to be able to work around this situation. Then we're going to look at your strategic approach to COVID-19, and that's where the business models and revenue models are going to come in. So this is where we get to say ready, set, and go. This is where we start. So welcome everybody. And I'd like to do this dramatically. Are you ready to remodel your business, or maybe keep the same business model? And I didn't add keep the same business model, but if it works, if it's still working, good for you. But if you need to remodel, are you ready? And that's what I want you to be able to know. So you may not answer now, but maybe after this session, I'm going to ask you again, are you ready to remodel your business? And I'm going to expect some yeses, some no, some maybe, but I hope to get more yeses at the end of this session. So having that said, our objective tonight is that by the end of this session, all attendees, means each and every one of us present tonight, should be better equipped to navigate their businesses through the current turbulent times. Think of yourself as this captain on a boat, yeah, and you have an opportunity to navigate through that particular stormy moment, and you want to get your boat on the other side. So I want by the end of this session for you to be able to, be equipped to navigate, meaning that you're going to know which particular areas to be able to swat through and get yourself to safety and actually make the impact that you desire to get from all this. Moving on. So it is a long way to the economic new normal. I think all of us have begun to notice that it's going to take a while, before things ever become normal, if they will become normal. So now the economic new normal is still settling in. Okay, right now we know that COVID has literally changed how things operate. Just the same way the SARS virus gave an open way to businesses like Alibaba to get started, and today it's one of the largest e-com businesses, especially in the wholesale industry, and it's pretty much came to stay. Airbnb was a product of the recession in 2008, and Uber as well was also a product of that recession. And guess what? They are still there today. And you get to see how so many elements or so many businesses and so many things that are now economically accepted may have been as a result of a recession, a trying time where there was this major crisis, and it just changed the way things happened. And now we are facing one of the largest types of crisis that I think the world has faced in quite a long time. And it seems to be staying for a long time, and it's changing things. But as a business person, you probably don't want to pack your business and then just go back to a job. The question is which job when people are actually losing jobs. So meaning that we are obligated or say obliged to actually begin to say, how do I crack this? How do I make sure I'm ready for this new economic normal, that it doesn't find me wanting, that I can still navigate my boat to the safe side. And so leaders must learn from the pandemic now to position their companies to thrive in the next crisis. So yes, there are lessons to be learned. I mean, we are learning lessons. I mean, I'm learning lessons. The team at Make Live is learning lessons. You are learning lessons, and it is wisdom for us to be able to draw and say, what can I learn from this that will help me position my business to thrive in the next crisis? I remember receiving an email from Startup X just I think last week, and they are running this innovation to be able for people who can design businesses that can survive through crisis. It's an interesting challenge. And I thought about it like, if I wasn't so busy, I'd actually really want to get involved in this. Still have it on mind because it gives me some room to get to do it. But just the thought of it to say, okay, they are thinking of a business that can survive crisis. It looks, I actually think the one who came up with that was just like, I don't think it will work, but let's just try it, like let's just run this particular challenge and see if actually someone can design and innovate something that will actually survive through different types. So obviously, getting into such a challenge, you have to be thinking of all potential crisis modes, and then you start working back to create a business that actually survives almost every crisis you can think of. So this is the food for thought. So leaders must learn from this pandemic now to position their companies to thrive in the next crisis. So now we've got decisions to be made. Like I said, it's a long way to a new economic normal. And we have to ask ourselves the questions like, how has the economy, as we know it, been disrupted? I mean, if there's a change taking place and we need to make certain changes, we first need to understand what exactly has changed. I don't know if you agree with me, but I believe this is something we need to be thinking about. What exactly has changed? So number one, changes in the labor market. You've seen it, I've seen it. Things are changing. I mean, different types of opportunities are coming up. I remember in the session that we covered right here on UNZAPRENEURS, we looked at the 7+ work opportunities post-recession, work and business opportunities post-recession, and we covered 10 of them. And at Make Live International, we have a big event coming where we're running you through those 10 courses called African Indispensable. I'll be sharing it with you next week so that you may get to know about it if you want to participate. And we'll be giving a skills training. So it's going to be 2 months long training that we're going to be training people in 10 vital courses for the post-recession. You get certified at the end, and it's going to be interesting. It's going to be very affordable, by the way, and you're going to want to participate in it. But that being said, there's also disruption of face-to-face activities. I mean, we all know now that a mask has become the new swagger in town. Like, we have to wear a mask everywhere you go. I remember seeing a meme where, like Obama is walking, then all of a sudden there's another picture, he's running, say, oh no, I forgot my mask. And I think one day that happened to me. I was leaving, like I literally walked outside. I left, I did some bit of walking, and I remembered, oh, okay, I have to go back for this mask. And that's really the thing now. So face-to-face activities have pretty much been disrupted. So meaning people who had conferences, I mean, we had quite a number of events planned that were physical. We had to get affected by that and had to reposition. And we've been sustaining a number of projects through virtual meetings, and we've kept that going. old business models are crumbling, and that's something we're talking about today. Business model. Am I having the right business model or not? Questions we want to get to find out. Should I change? What other business models are out there? So now, if old business models are crumbling while new ones are forming, at least let's get to know some types of business models out there, and potentially those that may not necessarily be very new, but had this silent thing going until the whole COVID-19 came in, and they're like, oh, okay, you know what? Let me become a dominant business model type for these guys. So then we're going to look at that. Then there's also changes in customer spending and saving habits. Trust me, today it's hard to get someone to pay money for any single thing, but that doesn't mean they're not spending it anywhere. So if you're in business, you want to find out where exactly are they spending that money. And because people are different now, even the saving habits have changed, the spending habits have changed. Now with this knowledge, now we can begin to think of exactly how the economy has been disrupted. And this begins to give us some level of element into business models and revenue models that can work. Because I know if we know face-to-face activities are disrupted, hint for you over there, probably your business model should find a way around that. If you see there's a change in the labor market, you have to ask yourself, okay, which skill sets have become more relevant? So if you're in a service business, you want to lean more towards the relevant types of skills. You get to see business models coming, new ones forming. So what are the business models that are, how can I put it, insulated against this COVID pandemic? Changes in customer spending habits and saving habits. I said, okay, you know what, find out how they are spending, where they are spending, and how you get involved with that. Moving on, what questions should we be asking? Well, so these are questions you're probably asking yourself. If not, well, you might start asking yourself tonight. Should I shift my business model? Okay. Should I shape a new business? That could be a good thought, by the way. I mean, sometimes when we see new, we are like, oh, I've already done a whole lot of this. I've already been keeping this. This is my baby, my business. But guess what? Sometimes you have to face the hardcore truth and drop that business if it's not working for you. I've had to drop quite a number of businesses in the past. I mean, I've done businesses in stationery. I've I've designed books to use for class. Like, these are not books. I mean, in first year, I used my own books, printed Mapakashi stationaries. Like, I didn't have to go buy a book from Book Hut. I had my own books. And trust me, they were better looking and more fancy. That business was actually working fine. I had to drop it because it didn't marry well with school. I once did a business where right on top of the stationery ones, actually supplied business notebooks at church, and they quite sold quite a bit and did a bit more of stuff like that. I ran a food industry business at some time called Bevla Cafe and Grill. We were able to even pitch deals with Vodafone Zambia. We did this gig thing that we made some money. That was that overnight thing at UNZA that happened. We had an overnight meeting, and we made, I think, about 1,000 plus just within 24, from 24 to like 04. That's how much we sold. It wasn't bad. So, those businesses were nice businesses, but there was a time I had to come to a hardcore truth and say, you know what? I like you, but this business is just not working for me now. So it might be you at that particular time right now. There may be a business that you may have to drop and focus on something that has got a better plan for you. Should I sustain my business and restore operations as they were? Well, that's a good question, because some of us have to do that, some of us don't. Should I restructure my company or industry? Right? That's a question some of you may be asking. And restructuring has happened a lot, especially at MakeLife. We've done lots of restructuring ever since this. And that's why I feel confident being able to have this conversation with you, because these are stuff that I've been implementing. I mean, I've been looking at this earlier on in the year. So I had an opportunity to get in touch with such level of thinking earlier on. So it's really quite helped. And maybe some of you have already dealt with some of these issues, but tonight this may be your opportunity to get to deal with those. Then this is our assessment. So I want you to quickly take time to look at this. If you're using a smartphone, pretty much even just capture this page, and I want you to be able to think over this. So this is a graph of sorts. You can see there's your x-axis, there's your y-axis. I mean, if you have some level of background in Cartesian coordinates, I hope this will make some sense. So there's at the bottom, extent of industry demand disruption, all right? I hope that you can see that at the bottom, extent of industry demand disruption. And this bottom here, before I move on to the side bar. So you're looking at how the industry has been disrupted, especially the demand. So if you're in the food industry, agriculture industry, information industry, whatever industry you are in, tech, you might be wanting to ask yourself, what's the extent of the disruption during this crisis? So you can see there's less and there's more. Some industries have been greatly affected by the coronavirus. Some haven't been as affected. So they'll fall on the lesser side of things. Then when you look at your y-axis, right here on your left, I believe, you're going to see extent of business model disruption. So now, if your business model has been highly disrupted by the coronavirus, then that also will be able to help you. You can see less and more. So now you draw this up and you get to ask yourself the tough questions. How affected is the industry I'm in by the COVID-19? So you give a good example of an industry that has been greatly affected by the coronavirus is education. Trust me, the education industry has been hard hit, whether it be education based on primary, secondary, even tertiary education and other types of learning. I mean, most of our programs now have to run online. So definitely hard hit. Old models definitely not even working. Let me not even go to that. That's a hard hit industry. An industry that's not been so hard hit by the coronavirus is agriculture for the most part. People are still eating. Probably they need more because there's actually certain herbs that are important for the medicinal purposes. So there's quite some people flourishing within the agriculture industry. Cleaning industries have not been disrupted. If anything, they've been blessed by this because the people that manufacture sanitizers, people that keep places clean, have had opportunity in this area for the most part, especially towards the product element of things. So different business models that have been disrupted here. Obviously, direct sales models. I'm going to share, like I said, I'll share at the end different types. I just want to give you some quick examples. Definitely a business that deals directly with customers has been greatly affected. There are people who have a phobia for this COVID-19. Well, I can say maybe rightfully so. And they do not want to meet you. Like they don't mind or care who you are. They say, you know what, let's meet online because they do not know where you've been. So there's been models that have been highly disrupted, and then there's those that have not been disrupted much. Let's give, for example, models of businesses like Tigmu. It's that pretty much were running an on-demand food business. COVID came, just boomed their business model, and they're working, and um, delivering via app, and that's just an understanding. So those of you have already been trying to understand this graph on your own. Perhaps you've cracked it, but let me just try to bring back your mind to the top left quadrant. So you get to see there, the shift my business model. So remember, we're doing decision making. So if you have a high business model disruption and a low industry demand disruption, you can shift your business model. So if your industry hasn't been greatly affected and your business model has been highly affected, you need to change your business model. You need to shift your business model. If only then you go to the top right, you get to see high business model disruption and high industry demand disruption. If both your industry and your model have been disrupted, you just have to shape a new business together. A new business. There are literally some universities that has to begin to build an online platform. I mean, that's changing the entire business. It just maintains the same name, but it's changed. Trust me, don't be fooled. Businesses have changed. Businesses have changed. Like, it's a whole different game to be an online university and an offline university. Like, businesses have changed. They realize this won't work. It's just some places have to try to call a balance, and they're really managing the whole COVID situation with the blended learning. But for the most part, businesses have changed. I mean, if you have the majority of the students home, that's a different business altogether. Not just the model is changed. The business is new. Okay, it's a new business. That's why in America there was actually students that sued their universities to say, we want our tuition back. This is not the business, we were promised. We paid for tuitions on campus. This is a different setting. So that, let me just bring that out there. Don't be fooled. There are different businesses out there. If your business has a low business model disruption, we're at the bottom left, and a low industry demand disruption, then you just sustain your business as it was and restore operations as they were. So these are the very few types of groups of people, especially those people I talked about, those in the cleaning services, those are doing the app deliveries like Afri Delivery, the Ulendo. Those guys are still being able to sustain their business. They haven't had to make changes really, to the business model. They're just sustaining operations. Perhaps they just ramped operations higher and try to come up with more promotional activities to create awareness. But their business model and their business is still in check. If you have a low business model disruption and a high industry disruption, this is what you do. Restructure. All right. You don't need to change your business. Your business is okay. I mean, the industry is still good. So don't change your business. What you just do is restructure. Some of you are going to start asking, okay, what's the difference with shaping a new business and restructuring an industry? Well, I've already attacked some universities for the most part, but it's debatable on this at this particular point. But restructuring your company really means the way it flows in terms of the organization. So initially, you may have found that you had a certain number of people working at the company, but then now, for example, banks have done this. They've restructured. They have people in their internal audit working from home, and they only have the tellers and the people that are highly needed at the banks. So you find the business is still the same. They're still operating as they were operating. People still go to the banks today, but then they realize, wait, we don't need all these people in the office. It's still working with these people back home. Well, let's cut down on space. Let's cut down on a few things, and that's changed. So we could restructure. Other businesses have actually just taken this thing where they realize business is still going on and going to work is optional. You just go to work if you need to work in an environment that's less destructive, but then you can still do work every day because they realize just setting goals and meeting the goals, the business is still moving. That being said, I want to pause and ask you, how do you feel about this assessment? Is it helpful? Please let me get your reactions and responses in the chat before I move into the next.
Mapalo, I feel this is very helpful, but I have a question. How do you ensure that your product is relevant to the market in this COVID times without, like, how do you ensure there's relevance in the product that you're offering to the market without you really changing? Like if I'm in the let's say clothing business, right? And you talked about how most people are failing to, people don't just want to spend money anyhow because times are hard. So how do I fit my business environment in the present times without me changing my product?
That's a good question, Laurie. And let me just try to see if we can do this together. Let's do this together with you, right? When you look at this stuff, do you feel your industry, the clothing industry, how hard a hit do you feel it has been with the COVID-19, in your own opinion?
I beg your pardon?
I'm saying, in your opinion, how hard hit do you feel the clothing industry has been hit with the COVID-19?
On a scale of 1 to 10, I'd probably say 5, because
5.
At the end of the day, yeah, I feel like 5. Because I think people, every now and then, people want to look nice despite having a crisis and whatnot. So yeah, I feel like 5.
5 is a very diplomatic way to play it, Laurie. I once carried out an assessment. The first assessment I failed about entrepreneurship and about being sponsored because I played it safe throughout. I kept on picking, those why you say highly disagree, agree, or then there's that middle option. They failed me terribly. So I don't want to fail you on this one. You have to pick a side. Is it less than 5 or more than 5?
Okay, it's more than 5.
More than 5. Thank you. But that's a good thing for a political side, though, being diplomatic. So now, since we can agree that it's a bit more than 5, it's safe to say that we're already operating in the half of the quadrant that's to the right. Now, the next question that we would want to find out is how much of the business model has been disrupted. So before COVID, how were you selling your clothes?
Okay, that was just an example though, because I'm just starting. So we've for me and my partner, we've taken advantage of the online space because we realize that almost everybody is on their gadget. People are spending 80% of their time on their phones because yeah. So for us, we're just taking advantage of that, and it seems to be working.
Okay, okay. So it seems to be working. So you've been able to do a model that puts you in front of your customers for the most part. That's for the marketing. And maybe your biggest question, like you said, you talked about relevance
Mm-hmm.
to for people to see the relevance, right?
Yeah.
All right. So when you talk of relevance, for me, this is what comes to mind. There's what we call the pain to gain ratio. I'll say that again. The pain to gain ratio. You want to always know at which side of your business of the pain to gain ratio your business falls. If your business solves more of a pain than a gain, you won't need as much advertisement. Once you bring it before someone, they may already want to, see its relevance. I mean, if your teeth is paining, you're gonna see the relevance of a dentist. Like if it keeps on hurting, even though you've never dreamt of a dentist, you're gonna say, I need to go to the dentist. I mean, pain will get you to look for the person who can solve your pain. So if your business solves your pain, the higher of the ratio that leans towards the pain that you're solving for your customer, the easier it is. You don't have to market it as much. People will be looking for you. If your business falls more on the gain side, like this is an advantage, like I mean, they would survive without it. I'll give an example. Your tooth paining, that's a pain, but something that's a gain for me is buying maybe some candy. I mean, even if I don't buy Cadbury chocolate today, I'm not gonna die. Probably might not cross my mind. So the guys at Cadbury are really going to have to do a whole lot of marketing and that and advert, especially a whole lot of advertisement. By the way, that's why Coca-Cola, being a successful brand, however, has got some of the largest advertisement budget because they don't really solve any pain for the most part. They just give you a gain, the feel of Coca-Cola, the whole soft drink experience, but probably you survive without it. So relevance then now means that you need to identify whether the type of clothes that you are selling are more of a pay need or a gain need. So ask yourself, am I selling clothes that are right now a pay need, meaning that someone really can't do without them? For example, going towards June, more people were thinking around warm clothes because whether they were home or not, they wanted to still rock a nice looking jersey and whatnot. But well, season is about to come to an end. So you should be asking yourself with your business partner, what's going to be the next catchy thing in the season that we are going in? And before people start getting those, make at least some level of investment in your inventory in the next trendy thing before even the producers or the manufacturers scale up the pricing because of demand. So that the time when people start buying it, you are the first one to roll it out because then that's going to be a pain need. But once that pain is satisfied, it's then just gonna reach a saturation point. It's gonna become flat, and then now you need to start overselling again. I don't know if that helps.
Thank you, Mapalo. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
And thank you so much, Laurie. Your question was great. I know you're using an example, but it's really helped the whole team be able to put it into a practical space. So definitely something we needed for this segment. Before I move on quickly, is there anyone else with a question? I know we've got like 20 minutes. I still need to run through business models. So if everything is clear, I can get some thumbs up and text, then I move on. This is a very important thing for you to get, because then the next part is going to make a whole lot more sense. Awesome. I'm getting that people have understood. Is there any feedback for me here? Thumbs up, chat, text. Okay, I already saw some in the group saying very clear, very helpful. Okay, great. Let me move on. So just a quick look at the impact of COVID-19. So this is the impact. We need to be asking ourselves, how big is the impact? How long, and how to solve. And that's why you've seen many people coming up with, there's been some of the most competitions, innovation competitions in this period of time, because the question is how to solve, all right? But then one of the questions people are asking themselves is, how big is this thing? And trust me, it's beginning to seem that it's very big. How long? Well, it's uncertain, because there's different hypotheses, theories out there as to why this is ongoing. Some support a theory that maybe this is a strategy for a new world order. Others are saying, well, maybe they're just against this president, or etc., etc. It could be a combination of all those, but then there's really no certainty as to when this is going to be solved. So the impact is large, it's big, it's probably long, but it makes it really the question that's biggest is, how do I solve for this? Because now we confuse, because it's harder to solve for something that you can't really quantify. So if you can't really quantify how big a problem it is just yet, and how long it is, it becomes a bit tricky to solve it. But the best way, like I said, we're talking about navigating, and that's why the model I'm from showing you begins to help you be able to navigate. So you may not know how you're going to quickly get to the end of the, when you're on the boat, you don't know you're going to get to the other shore, but if you can navigate through the storm, you will survive the storm. And right now, surviving the storm is the way you should be thinking. I hope that's clear. You should be thinking how to survive the storm right now, how you navigate through the storm. That's why many business models right now are actually in check mode. They try for a bit, they're not working, quick repositioning. Some of these particular campaigns you're seeing, they're just strategies by companies also to try to check whether certain things are working, because people are really, like everybody here is at this point was brought to ground zero. Even though you were a big fish back then, I tell you, everyone is the same. People have been the same. Some have started making progress because they are testing the waters. They know, okay, this side is too shaky, the board is going to rock. They quickly go back to, a more steady point. So that's what's happening here. Some of the products you're seeing, some of these innovation challenges, you may think they want to just give out $5,000, but the real thing they're trying to look for is ideas that people can come up with research. They're trying to borrow people's time to research, people's efforts, people's, what we would call a domain knowledge experience, to really determine where they should be heading themselves. So don't be surprised if some of the ideas you submit get stolen, because they'll just change them a bit. Because that's what people are trying to do. They're all trying to solve. It's just that some people have got the money to buy people's ideas. So not that I'm discouraging anybody from participating. I mean, I've participated in a challenge, we even won one. But I'm just trying to say that you at least get to know the mindset. My mentor once told me that even when you get involved in something, always ask yourself, what's the whole big idea behind this? It's always important. It's okay to still participate, but at the very least, understand what's going on. So your strategic approach to COVID-19, well, you need a continuity strategy. How do I continue and not die? I wish you learned some of these things earlier, sooner, but so there's some stuff you should think. The first thing is people safety and security. Make sure you follow the guidelines, the compliance guidelines, keep yourself safe and be safe. You talk of security, and you also look at how you keep the people you're working with safe. So if you're going to come up with any business model, and revenue model, you need to always have people's safety and security in mind. Whatever business model you're doing, make sure that you're not abrogating the laid down guidelines. Then you need to think cash flow. It's very bad to run out of cash flow. When I teach financial planning, which I've taught even on entrepreneurs, I talk about how to survive in financial planning. There are two things that's important. One, don't run out of cash. The second thing is make sure that your business will definitely bring a profit at some point. All right. So cash flow is very important. You need to be protective of your cash flow, your cost saving as well. Like I said, there's change in spending and saving habits. So it's the same for businesses as well. As a business, you need to be thinking of cost saving. There's certain things you don't need, don't do them. There's certain things, well, you can live without. You can delay when you get them. This also means that you can negotiate with suppliers. That brings us to our first point, to say, can I not pay immediately? May I pay at least at this point? You negotiate it. I mean, we had to negotiate when we're getting our office for Make Life International. We had to negotiate with the landlord. We're like, yo, this amount you're charging us, well, we would be fine in any given scenario, but let's talk real circumstances. These are stuff that we don't need. We don't need this too much. We don't need that. So let's talk about reducing our fees. So we realize we're not going to use power much. We're not going to use their water much. So we're like, well, other people are using that. We're not using that. So we're not adding in any way to those bills. So why not give us a better deal? Trust me, negotiation is important. So if you missed the session I carried out on negotiating like a pro, do it, because I would share how much we negotiated and did a deal, but well, for the sake of professional etiquette, I won't. But you need to be very negotiating like within this time period. So supplier, banker, investor alliances are good. I've seen quite the collaborations being built up this time around. So there's never been a better time to be able to strengthen your alliances, because together we stand better. Then there's new opportunities, and that's where there may be a need for you to restructure, to get a new business, to remodel. It's because you want to take advantage of the new opportunities that may lie in all this crisis. Yesterday, I was sharing a session for those of you who registered for our e-commerce free webinar as Make Live International. We covered this a lot, and we gave a certain quote by Jaylene that says that sometimes when everything seems to be falling apart, they are actually falling into place. They may actually be falling into place. Not they are, but they may be actually falling into place. So in all this, guess what? They are new opportunities. So what are these new opportunities? There's new businesses that you can try, new opportunities. I've taken time to start investing more in this period of time. Before then, entrepreneur was what was on my profile, but now I added the new thing, investor, because now I've seen opportunity to invest in other businesses, invest in my money, invest in my resource, invest in my time. And there's that opportunity coming up. New civilization. I mean, even third world countries are waking up to digitization. New mindsets. People are thinking different. It's no longer how it was now. Everyone is having a whole shift around their way of thinking. Like I said, spending less and everything. So other people are spending more on health foods. They realize, well, maybe if I keep more healthy, my meal will be more stronger. So even if you're in the food business, you might be thinking, oh, okay, I should be changing what I put out there. Let me speak more health conscious type of fooding. You even can try the ketone types of foods. Even do some nice deco for health fooding. Think like people are thinking in this mindset. New lifestyle. I mean, what are the lifestyles people are adopting with this? How do I position myself? Someone in the clothing industry, this is something you need to think about. What with the new lifestyle, what really is more relevant now for the new types of lifestyle? At what occasions are people requiring their clothing? And I've seen a whole lot of marriages, by the way, in this period of time. I like to find out where people getting the type of materials they want for their changamolilos, their marriages. Famous, I would like to get into that industry around this time, because for some reason I didn't know if there were so many weddings like before this, but I just felt like there's been quite a number. So you start thinking in that line, or maybe even think about baby clothes. because I think there's also been a number of babies. So new lifestyle, new business and supply chain. So that's something again you need to be thinking. Okay, what are the different supply chains? I mean, a whole lot of supply chains have been taken to an e-com platform. So if you don't understand e-com, make sure you pay for the class that we are doing starting Wednesday. It's the cheapest we've ever done a course because we're training a combination of ILO and Make Live International's favorite topics around this area, which is IYB, which is marketing for SIYB, and e-commerce. And we charge for, when we charge in a corporate to pay employee, we charge 2,500 for that course. So we're charging for both combinations a fixed amount of 200 kwacha, which is like $10. And this is first time and never after kind of a deal. So if you're interested, make sure you let me know. We close receiving payments on Wednesday at 12 because we start doing the classes in the evening from 2022. From Wednesday to Friday, you also get a certification for that. And we're going to train you, and you're going to get a free IYB manual, which is a very important thing. I mean, in China with IYB, we trained 14 million people with SIYB in different countries around the world. It's the biggest management program in the whole world, and you get to learn their IYB marketing. As Make Life, we are certified to carry that out as a company. Well, that was me sidetracking, but because I was talking about business and supply chains, I'm very passionate about teaching people how to really position themselves now. So we're looking at positioning, marketing, and sales all online. So we start, day one is positioning, day two is marketing, day three is sales. So if you'll be interested, it's only 200 kwacha. The deal goes off on Wednesday 12. We actually are running a promo that ends today where you get 2 extra special bonuses where we help you set up an e-com platform. So those of you who can still pay within the next few hours, better for you. You get to still find that. So those are extra bonuses from the book and whatnot available. Well, because of time, let me move on. New business models and new revenues. And that's what we're looking at tonight. And time is almost done. Oh my. So what is a business model? So I made it as simple as possible. This is the operational blueprint of a business. I mean, if you've heard of blueprint, a blueprint is the design for maybe say a house, a structure. So businesses have a business model. This is really how the business will operate. And I'm about to share with you some examples in case you're still confused. So these are some types of business models. Allow me not to overcruise. I know the time is running out, but I'm still going to observe time. Let me just try to not speed up so I don't lose you here. So there's an add-on type of business structure. So and this is pretty much the core offering is priced competitively, but there are numerous extras that drive the final price up. So what this means is that if you've gone to Hungry Lion, when a Hungry Lion, you buy chicken, 2 big bites, they'll tell you extra fries, large, and whatnot. Those are what we call add-ons. And you find you initially wanted to spend just 32 something, like 290. You keep on saying yes to them. You can find the 50 kwacha gone. I laughed at a friend of mine. He told me he once went to the Bonairs and he kept on saying yes, yes, yes. Extra cheese, yes. Extra pepperoni, yes. And he planned to, buy that small real deal pizza. By the time he was leaving, that same small real deal pizza cost him over 50 plus. Well, so that's an add-on type of business. I can see Tisa is laughing. Yeah, it's very funny. And that could be your business model now. And I've seen it work online as well for the most part. Sometimes people put on extra benefits and bonuses you get. So an add-on could be your business model. You set it up where that whatever you're offering before, you find out complementing products that someone can get along your product. So for example, if you are doing eggs, you could find out what eggs go with and have them be as an add-on. So if someone comes to buy eggs from you, you're not someone who's buying eggs who need this and that. That's why you always find stuff like sugar, milk, tea bags will be found in the same section. That's why shops do that. By the way, they've got a serious add-on model going on there. Initially, you may have just gone to buy milk. Before you know it, watengana cough. Sorry for those who don't speak Bemba. you know, but you just carry the coffee. You carry, before you know it, you're buying all these things. Guess what? That's a model. They are literally positioned in your mindset to take more than you plan to take. So you might want to think add-on for your structure. All right. Another thing is customer loyalty. Now, I want you to pay attention at this definition. Customers are returned and loyalty assured by providing value beyond the actual product. Get this, beyond the actual product or service itself. Have you ever seen a company that says, okay, for buying for us, because you bought so much, we're going to give you t-shirts, we're going to give you that. You know, they go extra mile to give you something that's not even in line with the product you're getting, because that's a customer loyalty model. You find that banks, what they do, for those who spend so much money, they won't only give you like a black card, like any Standard Chartered does that, but you find you also go, you have this bank that's exclusive to you. When you go there, they'll serve you tea, they'll serve you breakfast without you paying anything, because they want you to have customer loyalty. Even airlines do that. If you go to fly Emirates, they will treat you very fine for a certain ticketing. Even when you drop off, the certain ways they'll track you, because they want to make you loyal to their products, to their services. And this may be good for people, especially now where things were affected. You find that some companies have ramped up their customer loyalty strategies. Digitization, this one by all means, you need to be thinking about it in this new economic place we are going to. So digitization is a business model type where the pattern relies on the ability to turn existing products or services into digital ones. Okay, so this means that your uh, your product or service, you find a way to create it into a digital variant that offers an advantage, you know, over the tangible product, because of the ease of distribution and the faster distribution. So it means that you need to find yourself, and I talked about this when I was talking about how to sell services. Find how you can turn your services into products. Simple. That's something that I wouldn't normally share, but I love this team so much. But find a way to digitize, because it will offer you a better variant on a tangible product. You can sell it faster, you can distribute it more, you can go global, you're not limited to a small space. Think about that. Time won't allow me to dwell on those, so sorry, because I love time management. Other types of business models, direct selling. This one has definitely been affected, but I thought I'd cover it so that you may know. But some of you can still make this work. We still are hoping to get certain people through direct sales sometimes, even as a company. So direct selling refers to a scenario whereby a company's products are not sold through intermediary channels, but are available directly from the manufacturer or service provider. And sometimes this may work for certain people. For example, Apple have really worked around this. Like, these guys own their infrastructure. They do not have Apple software running on another 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 computer hardware provider and whatnot. They probably set up most of their stores wherever they go, and they sell directly to their customers. Well, so it's a bit of a direct way, but obviously they have a retail platform, but mostly it's direct because you only can get it from them. You won't find it on any other platform. But they've also, it's kind of a bit mixed. Probably they're not the best example for this, because you could buy an Apple product and resell it on a platform like Amazon and whatnot. But for them, mostly, as a company, for them, it's mostly a direct sell. And this also means for service business, you walk up to your customer and sell it to them directly. All right, it's 2030. I have got another slide. I think there's two slides that deal with two more business models and revenue models. Am I allowed to extend for the next 10 minutes? Can I quickly get yeses so that I finish this up? Or I can conclude it from here and we won't cover business models. Okay, I've
Yes,
got my first yes.
yes,
Thank you
me.
so much. Okay, let's get some more yeses. Awesome. Can I get a yes from the others? Joseph, Laurie, Sandram, do I extend 10 minutes more? Can I get more yes? Thank you for the yeses coming in. Thank you as well, Mr. Chakopo. Thank you, guys. I even 20. Thank you, Laurie. Okay, yes, from Hong Kong. All right, thanks. Since you permitted me, let me finish this there is what is known as reverse razor blades. So this is offer the low margin item below cost to encourage sales of the high margin companion product. This is a very powerful strategy. I've used this one for event ticket sales before, right? It works. This is where you've got something that's low priced so that there's initiative to buy the higher priced product. And that's, well, those of you who attend some of the strategies I've told you about, service sales of service shoes. Sometimes we want to work with a 3-price model. It's really good. Now, a reverse or razor blades one is where you can have a low margin item below cost to encourage sales of a higher margin companion. This is why cars like Ferrari sell at close to where they showcase jets. So when you go to look at jets, you see the prices are so overwhelming, such that by the time when you look at the price for a Ferrari, it looks cheaper. Like that's the model they use, because they realized that they were not selling as well in showrooms, that's normal showrooms. So they had to go and position themselves where there's jets being sold. So sometimes if you want your cakes to sell better, go and position yourself where there are others selling more expensive stuff. You may be shocked that your stuff start moving faster, because now when people are from seeing the prices, even though you are selling your cake at 400, if where they're coming from, they're selling all their confectionaries at 700, 800, you're gonna look like the cheap option. This has psychology has worked on me before. Like there's sometimes after I come back home, I'm like, what made me buy that at that price? Then I remember, oh, it was because that was expensive, that was expensive, that was expensive. By the time I found this other thing that was expensive, it looked cheap. So that's a very psychological way of doing your business model. Then franchising. Franchising has been there for a long time, and brands use that. KFC is franchisable. I mean, McDonald's is franchisable, and I believe in Zambian, there's certain Zambian companies that are coming into the franchise business. So the franchisor owns the brand name, products, and corporate identity, and these are licensed to independent franchisees who carry the risk of local operation. So they'll franchise to people like Engine, like the oil company Engine. When you go to get a franchise with them, thanks, Lois says she loves the reverse razor. Thank you so much. Yeah, so great. When the companies like Engine, when they are franchising, I don't know if you know the Bonjour shops, the Bonjour, and these different types of shops that you find at an Engine station. What they do is that if you're buying oil from them, they will give you the real estate for free. Like you can use the station, the shop, you won't pay rent for that. The only thing is that you will need to buy fuel only from them, and everything in the store that you sell, like the shop, don't charge you rent for those shops, the Bonjour, to have them. They will give you the space, but you need to give them a royalty of everything sold within the shop. So that's their franchise model. So they gain royalties and they have license fees that they get, and you buy from them. So franchising could be a potential model. This one's better when you've got built a big brand. When you become a brand, other people want to mimic. Franchising becomes an option. Time is racing. Okay, the Robin Hood. Well, the Robin Hood, this is where the same product or service is provided to the rich at a much higher price than to the poor. That's Robin Hood. Those of you who know Robin Hood, if you watch Shrek, one of my favorite cartoons growing up, there used to be a song that the Robin Hood there was singing. You know, we steal from the rich and give to the needy. But I'm not pretty, you know, and you go on singing that song and whatnot. But the Robin Hood business model, this is where you can sell the same product at a different price. And this is true for service businesses for the most part. I mean, we've had times where we literally have to compromise to sell at a lower price point for people that we know can't afford it, but we know the value is at a higher price point. So it's more of a Robin Hood type of thing. So it's the same thing. Like I said, guys, make sure you grab this offer. I mean, companies are paying lots for this, but you get a chance to pay for this at a very low price point, and it won't come around much, you know, because the Robin Hood is real. It's Robin Hood. You would steal and go give the rich. You know, it's just, and one is a poor person. So sorry if you feel offended. It's a business model. I'm explaining, you know, being practical. So that's another business model. Then there's self-service. Now, self-service is a part of the value creation, is transferred to the customer in exchange for a lower price of the service or product. So a part of that value creation is transferred to the customer in exchange for a lower price of the service product. So that's really what self-service is about. So you get that value creation, and then you transfer that particular value that you created to the customer in exchange for a lower price. And that really helps a lot. So you could want to do that as well. So like you see, if you go to the filling stations, sometimes though they don't charge, there's some filling stations that you can go and use the gas for free and whatnot, don't charge you. So it's a self-service model. So that value, the customer is helping create that value, and then you just pay, you just charge them a lesser price. So this is where they do the work themselves, but then you still make the money. So it means you don't need extra labor cost. So that could work for you. Self-service could be a better way for your business. Okay, time is moving. What is a revenue model? So the business model is the operational blueprint. Well, the revenue model is the revenue blueprint. This is the way, the techniques or the strategies that a business will create revenue. So it's important for you to have a business model that works, but it's also greatly important for you to have a revenue model that works. And here are a few revenue models that you could try out. I'll quickly go through them. One, the subscription. Subscription, this is where people subscribe to your services, maybe an app platform, and they pay maybe for a month, for a year, and they can use that. This is a good model for people who who do businesses like workouts, like for gyms, hygiene, this particular workout places. My advice for them, when I look at some of their businesses, I say, what, you know what, you need a subscription model, because people won't come to you every single time of the year. So you want to make them pay for the year when you even know that they won't come all the year. There'll be times they'll be locked up in their houses. So those people who are running fitness centers but didn't have a subscription payment, they are suffering. They've gone months without payment. But the smart ones, or sorry, the people who came across these types of information, had the opportunity to put a subscription place, and they made the annual fee slightly less than the monthly fee, knowing that there are going to be months where people don't go to the gym as much. So if you're running a business model that does not require your customers to use your facilities every single time, subscription is a smart way. Don't just start an app and say, we'll do subscriptions. You need to ask yourself, is it the best type for me? Like MakeLife, there's certain things we pay for as subscriptions. But we realize, though we pay some good money for them, well, there are times, their days won't even touch the platform, but we paid for it. Well, it's because the guys knew that these guys won't choose us every day. It's this, we don't lose money by charging a subscription. Probably out of a month's payment, you will only use that platform a short space of time. My brother was paying for LinkedIn Learning, and it's a monthly payment. It's not every day he uses it. So that's a model. Well, the 10 minutes are done. I hope that 20 minutes Loretta talked about was a goal. This session is moving fast today. Advertising. Well, advertising, this is where you have a business that's more on the gain side. So you really need you sell mostly by putting up adverts all the time, whether it's on social media, on TV. Your revenue model is that the more you advertise, the more you make money. This is where you go to TV stations that promote. This is where you go to people like actually, sorry, I confused the advertising to the business model. So on the revenue model, sorry, the advertising for the revenue model here is where you sell through creating an advertisement space on your platform. For example, like what other people do, they'll create a magazine and they'll incentivize the ads. The comedians online today on Facebook are doing advertising for the most part. They'll advertise your product because they have got a following. So it's really good for you if you've already got certain numbers coming. So if you've got any platform with high numbers, advertisement is an option for you. Fee for service. fee for service is important. Let me speak this into people. There's a friend of mine here that we are supposed to have a call. Make sure you call me, bro. Eh? You know who you are. Yeah. So, uh, so when you talk about advertising, so any space with people is a potential for advertisements. Fee for service. This is where you pay a fixed fee for a service rendered. Sometimes we do this for certain services at Make Live. We charge a fee, and sometimes that works better than being able to charge a commission, which is another type of revenue at the bottom, as you can see it. Then there's interest. If you are in the loan business, probably this is one of the ways you make your revenues through interest on monies you've lent over time. If you're also in a business that's known as hire purchase, though I highly disadvise it. For me, I don't think I like the model hire purchase where you get people to buy something and on a credit and they are paying in installments until they finish. The problem with that model is you may fight with people. You just really need to be smart. But those are normally interest-based models. Then there's donations. Some of you wonder how some of these platforms that will require people to donate work. There's the platforms that will do things for free. Picture like the way UNZAPRENEURS has me coming in doing this session for free all the time. And every time we told you to say, guys, for us to keep on running this, we're just asking if there's any donation you can make towards us consistently running this program. Those of you who feel beneficial to this product could probably want it to sustain. We don't do that here though, but those donations sometimes may go more than is required, and so people make extra based on the donation. But it's got the advantage of it having an appeal to people that it's free, you just have to donate. This is how so many movements survive. You go to the movement, you enjoy it, then you need to donate as well. So it's also a revenue model. A markup. This is the most common type of revenue model. A markup is where you buy something and you just add profit on top. This is the resale. This is the common type of business as we see. You buy something from a wholesaler and you go resell it by simply adding a markup. That's the whole business model. It's the most common type. You just account for costs, the transport you use to go buy the bottles of water, and then you add that on top of how much you paid plus the profit you want to make, and you start selling. So that's another revenue model. It's called markup. Then there's arbitrage. The arbitrage type of business model. This particular, how can I put it? I want to explain it in a way that makes sense. Let me just see if I can do something right now. Just trying to check on something. There's a certain term I want to use that I used elsewhere to help with how this will be shared on this platform as well. So just a minute. I know we've been overshot today, but let me just get to use that term. All right. So arbitrage. Let me get to read this for you. So it's a revenue model that makes use of the price difference of two different markets of the same good. Okay, so these are the types of businesses like, for example, Forex. If you've ever wondered the type of revenue model Forex has, this is where in one particular market, it's sold for a more price than the other. So you simply buy it in that market and you resell it in another market. So that's how arbitrage works. So if you are selling currencies, or if you find that this commodity in this particular region, it's very cheap, you just say, oh, okay, but for me, in my region, people will pay lots of money for this. So that's the kind of money you make. So that temporal price difference, that is what is known as arbitrage. And you may want to use that when you talk of your business model. So if you're in Forex and you've always wondered, these guys who do Forex, how do they make, what's their revenue model? They simply rely on trading a dollar in one particular region, and then they come and resell it. They come and resell it in sorry for that. They come and resell it in another space and exchange for it. Okay, time has run out. Let me just quickly run through the rest. Licensing, this is common for inventors, people with great ideas. There's a young man I know at UNZA who's designing what he calls the portable electric geysers. So if he wants, he can license that particular patent he has on that model once it goes through and whatnot. So licensing is where you got this invention you've done and you get other people to utilize it. So license is another way of your revenue. So people pay you your license fees as they use your idea. Then there's commissions. I think you all know commissions. You've either been paid in a commission before or you made a commission before. And commissions is another way of doing revenues, especially in affiliate sales. If you are doing a program that involves affiliate sales, you'll probably be getting a commission of every sale of something you do. Then there's a rent and lease. If you own property, you might want to rent it out or you might want to lease it, and they're different. A lease normally has a longer return period, could be a year, 2 years. A rent normally is taken per month. Nowadays, if you're trying to rent property, they'll tell you pay at least 2 months plus security. No, meaning you're going to pay like 3 installments. I hope you enjoyed tonight's session. Just to quickly echo, we have an incredible offer for you going only for 200 kwacha for the e-marketing program at Make Live. And those of you who don't want to miss it, it is certifiable. You get access to go-to-market in a box, the IYB marketing menu, plus extra bonuses. And those of you that pay within, I think, because the 24 hours bonus will be coming to an end soon, but you get extra mentoring for 2 weeks from Make Live. And we hope you set up your business e-commerce platform with the platform that we advise for you to set it up, and you can start selling online. If that sounds cool to you, that's an incredible